Are you recording right now?
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, so like when we made like this sort of like announcement to everybody that Stace and I were having Connor, this is pre-Connor.
And for those
BC.
listeners out there that don't realize this, Connor is Chris's son.
Yeah, it's not Conor McGregor as stupid people tend to think for some reason.
I keep forgetting. Is Connor with one N or two N's? Your Connor.
My Connor is two N's.
With two N's, okay.
It also means lover of hounds.
In what?
It's like Irish.
Okay.
But he's actually named after Connor Kent, which is the half human, half Kryptonian hybrid. That is.
And Stacy was cool with this?
Dude, I'm dead serious, right? So we went on it's called a baby moon, which is like the last fucking hurrah you do before, you know. And I was sitting there reading Teen Titans and taking a crap. Reading Teen Titans, and
where all best ideas are formed.
Exactly.
We're on the porcelain goddess.
So I came out and I was like, oh, hey, I'm like, you know, like Spartacus was kicked around for a while. Maximus was definitely kicked around since that's its middle name anyway. And she was okay with both of those. And I was like, hey, what about just making it Connor Kent Vu? And she's like, oh, I like the sound of that. And so for like a good bit, like Connor Kent was going to be it. And then it just sort of
that
fell
really
by the way.
flows nicely.
It does, doesn't it? Because like my last name is so short, like it needs to have a multi-syllabic first or middle name. So you need to kind of add that together. Either way, so his name, he's literally named after Connor Kent. But I loved Maximus so much because Gladiator is my favorite movie and all that good stuff. So we went with Connor Maximus. So
Maximus Aurelius,
that's the Genesis.
So I want to call him the Spaniard now. I'm going to be like
Spaniard.
Hey, Spaniard.
Like,
I have a question. Do you have the speech memorized when the Spaniard meets Commodus or whatever? Do you have the speech memorized?
I'm son of or father to a murdered. What is this? Is it that?
I'm a husband to a murdered wife. A father to a murdered son, and I will have my vengeance in this life or the next.
It's a good movie.
I saw it 4 times in theaters when it came out in the year 2000.
Wow,
that's 12 hours out of my life. That'd be like seeing Endgame, which I've actually at this point watched it. No, I don't know. Either way, so Noah, how are you?
I'm good. So I was telling Victor that. I was going shopping this morning, and I
cyber shopping.
No shopping. I was in Lucky's Market. I was doing
good
some
choice.
food
What
shopping.
Beer did you have?
What
beer did you have?
While I was shopping?
Yeah,
they didn't have any beer.
What do you mean?
They weren't. I guess it was too early in the morning or something.
Oh, okay. So this is before 10.
Yes.
Okay.
It was before 10. So I decided to become a real jiu-jitsu practitioner.
Oh, you got an acai?
No.
Oh, okay.
Purchase CBD oil for the first time.
Oh, okay.
Because you can't be a jiu-jitsu practitioner without being sponsored by CBD.
So how's that placebo effect working out for you?
So here's the crazy thing. So I bought a bottle of
a tincture?
liquid. No, I didn't do the tincture. I did liquid gelled capsules.
Okay.
And 15 milligrams.
They sell CBD oil or hemp oil? Because there's a difference.
Great question. I don't even know. It was in the CBD aisle, and CBD was in the ingredients.
Okay,
I don't know. I don't even know that much. I'm not a hemp nerd and all this stuff. Okay. But I was curious about the effects of primarily anti-inflammatory. That's one of the perceived benefits is it's an anti-inflammatory. They say it also reduces anxiety and stuff, but I can't see myself being more chill than I already am. So so I took 15 milligrams, which is a low dosage for someone that's 150 pounds, according to the internet. So you know, so I just
what
took
do you
one.
mean?
I took one, and didn't think about it. And 2 hours later, I felt a very mild body high, is what I would call it. So my head was totally fine, but my body felt a little lighter. Could be complete placebo, but I didn't really like it.
Okay.
And then I got pretty sleepy, and I took a nap before coming in here.
How much was the bottle? Because I might get some. If I respect your opinion a lot, that's why.
Well, I'll sell you my bottle at a really discounted rate because I'm thinking of doing that. I spent $36 for, I think there are 30 in there.
And how many caplets do you take at a time?
You take one.
Take one, really? Okay.
Well,
so it's
one is
$30 per month.
15. Yeah, it's one for 15 milligrams.
Okay.
So
I have some experience with CBD oil.
okay.
So like I don't know if you suffer from the same sort of inflammation issues, but like, or even just.
Well, I was thinking about taking this. I might try it one more time at night before I go to bed. So I'm essentially sleeping when I'm having. If I'm in fact correct that I feel something physically, that's not unpleasant, but it's a feeling that I don't feel normally, so I don't really like that.
Okay.
Maybe if there is still a benefit to anti-inflammation, doing it at night might actually be the best time to do it because number one, I'll be sleeping when I have the effect, and two, that's when I feel inflammation the most. Like I feel like I'm pretty
you're
good,
laying there, right?
But I will wake up in the middle of the night and be like, my knees feel warm.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So there have been times where I've iced my joints.
Jesus.
At 3 a.m. just because.
So at that point, don't you feel you're treating the problem or the symptom, not the problem? First off.
Well, that's a good question because I think that's the thing I'm trying to understand about CBD, and I'm a total newbie when it comes to this. Is it just like a more natural ibuprofen, which isn't fixing anything? It's just trying to reduce inflammation.
Right? And I had a similar experience.
If I could take this as a supplement, that's my biggest question. Can I take CBD oil as a supplement, like I would take a multivitamin?
But supplement, isn't it by definition you're replacing a crack that's in the armor, or like you're filling a crack, not a canyon, is the idea of a supplement, right? So like, where's the crack that we're doing missing?
Jiu-Jitsu, which is putting strain on my joints. Like this is coming from
I want to keep doing that. I agree with you. But like I did CBD and maybe some of it's placebo, right? I bought a tincture from a buddy of mine, or not from a buddy of mine. He recommended it because he vapes it. Okay. But I did the sublingual tongue thing. And I was like, oh man. And I don't know how much of it is placebo. I don't know how much of it is just actually CBD. I didn't feel a body high as you described it, but I did notice, I was like, It's sort of like when I take like a solid weekend off of not training and I sort of forget how my body feels not to be in pain.
Okay, so your body's in. I wouldn't define how I feel like in pain.
Okay.
Like I don't feel like maybe.
So you have like acute inflammation, not like the systemic.
Yeah,
sort of like,
that's what I would say. Like I would say, like so. For example, I'll warm up my. People kind of make fun of me because I'm always doing curls. It's like I do light curls, bicep curls with dumbbells before I train many days, just to warm up my elbows, because I find that the inside of my elbows sometimes can be a little achy, especially
the inside of your elbow.
Yeah,
really.
And I think that's also because I played tennis for most of my life, so my right arm and my right elbow and shoulder have got a lot of mileage on it.
Okay.
Just from playing tennis, so.
Did that thing on your elbow ever clear up? By the way.
Oh yeah, totally.
Is it gone? And you get it for just solid rest?
No, I had to have a drain. So
he's talking
about. I had
this disgusting.
Yeah.
Go on.
What's it called? It's called bursitis. I had a bursitis of my elbow, which is basically I had a fluid sac in my elbow. It looked like a little titty, and
God, that word.
Resting didn't do it. I had to have a drain. I went to Jewett Ortho. They drained it. It's called
lanced it, right?
Well, no, it's called aspiration. Aspiration. So they pulled out 15 cc's, which was a surprising amount. The guy wasn't expecting that much to come out because apparently
what is a normal elbow hold?
No, but sometimes liquid. I guess it's not just fluid in there or something. I don't know. I don't know what it was so obvious to me that this is fluid in my elbow.
Is it some sort of like synovial fluid?
I have no idea, but they pulled it out. It was like this reddish stuff.
Was it gelatinous or like just like watery?
It seemed a little gelatinous, but I would make it most akin to a slightly thicker version of what you would get if you squeezed a blood blister.
Okay, that sounds actually. Do you So you do a lot of jiu-jitsu now. Have you started getting ganglion cysts yet?
I don't think so. Okay. I think my fingers are pretty intact, but I do have weird like. Almost inverted crater calluses on my first knuckles from from grips on like lapel grips. So I basically have calluses on the top side of my first knuckles.
Interesting. So no ganglions yet. I was lancing my own. So ganglion cysts are basically these little cysts that develop at the sort of like base of your fingernail. Mm-hmm. And at the time, I was doing a lot of deadlifting and a lot of jiu-jitsu. I was training my ass off. That was before before Connor, right?
Yeah.
And I was getting these like
before Connor Kent.
Before Connor Kent, BC, but he's not. It's not Connor Kent. This is Connor. So and I went to the doctor and I was like, "Hey, man, I got these like gooey little sacs above my fingernail bed here. Like, what? Can you do something about that?" And he's like, "Well, I tell you right now, all I'm basically gonna do is just stick a needle into it and just drain it out. And I'm not gonna tell you to do it at home, but I'm not gonna not tell you to do it at home because like
there might have been some winking involved.
Yeah. And he was just like, I'm gonna tell you what I'm gonna do now is wipe it down clean with some alcohol, and take like a little sharp clean needle and just poke it and squeeze it all out. That's what I'm gonna do right now. And I'm gonna tell you that." So I was like, "Okay, cool." So that's what I did it myself. I for a pretty lengthy amount of time. You should have just done that to your elbow.
Yeah, so I'm glad I had it drained. Well, I just didn't know. Like the first time you have something, like you don't know what to react. Like I've rolled my ankle so many times that I know I'm very comfortable with. Like I roll my ankle, or I sprain my ankle. I'm pretty good at gauging the extent of the injury, what I need to do to fix it, sort of thing. Because I've been through that. I've never had a lump on my elbow before, so I didn't know how. Now, if I have it again, I'd be like, drain it and then compress it.
It was accumulated, right? Like it wasn't like a traumatic
thing. And so the problem
is
you have lymph nodes in your armpit, and that would be the gland responsible for getting rid of the liquid. The problem is, how often are we going to walk around with this thing above our head? So it's never really going to drain properly. They still advocate compression because compression does help bring the liquid up. But at the end of the day, when you have something that looked like a little titty on my elbow,
right?
Like it had to get drained, and then compression to keep it from filling up again. But it took me a while to find the elbow brace that would work,
right?
Because I think I bought like 3 different sleeves.
Jeez.
And then I finally found one that was the right compression, the right padding, so that it was tight around my elbow, but it also protected, because it was still just a little tender. But I'm glad he did it, meaning the doctor, because if you keep draining your elbow and it keeps filling up, every time you stick a needle in there, you're introducing a greater chance of infection.
Sure.
And the problem is when you have a fluid sac and a chance for infection, that can turn into something really ugly and nasty.
Yeah.
So that's like a little like staph bomb that could explode, So anyway, human
the
bodies.
CBD help with it ultimately.
I mean, I guess to some degree, I was probably like tarnished by Joe Rogan, like CBD this, CBD that, and yeah, man. So I don't know.
We hear it a lot, though.
We do hear it a lot, especially in jiu-jitsu circles. You're not a jiu-jitsu black belt until you're sponsored by a CBD company.
Yeah, some random
Hemp Plus.
It's a distillery and
yeah.
So despite injuries, Noah, what keeps you motivated to train?
Yeah, so this is a good, good topic. This is a good topic.
You like that?
This is a good topic. I like the segue. So we can thank Javon for this topic.
I'm curious as to what
I would love to have him tell me.
Why is he asking this?
I know, of all people, because I think Javon is like, he's the guy that in spite of his job always comes in and trains.
Yes,
because he's a doctor. He's in a hospital. He's always comes late, but I feel like he almost has an understanding.
Should we start
Paul.
calling him Professor?
Probably.
Yeah, we should, right?
Some people will do that, I there are a few people that have PhDs that are kind of into that, where they're like, call me professor. And I'm like, maybe? Anyway, but Javon asked me quite earnestly, just kind of in passing, he's like, man, how do you stay motivated? Sometimes I'll go home from work and I just don't want to get off the couch. And I'd have to ask him. My first initial impression was that there was some fatigue, just he's on his feet all day.
Yeah,
once he stops moving,
he works
it's
like a 12-hour shift.
Yeah,
right?
He's doing residency. It's intense.
It's hell.
Yeah. But for me, I think it's really easy for me to be motivated because I'm in that middle blue belt. Like I've been a blue belt for just about a year. Starting to understand jiu-jitsu a little better. Every time I go to class, I'm learning something new. And I think when you're learning something new, it's exciting. And then if you have any sort of perfectionist bone in your body, you wanna practice it. You know what I mean? So there are plenty of things to do, and it's just fun, man. Like jiu-jitsu is getting more fun.
I mean, okay? So
I'm not getting the shit kicked out of me every day. You know?
Curious, how many years of training does he have exactly?
I don't know. We'll have to have this conversation
I'd like
again with
I'm
Javon.
curious. So like you're a relative noob to me, and I'm 15 years into it at this point. I think I've calculated this one, and I'm still very motivated to train. You know, like, and I'm not comparing myself to a doctor, but I work 10 hours a day on average, right? And stuff, and I don't ever lose motivate. Okay, so like I feel as though for him to be asking that in the first place means that he's losing motivation to train.
Well, I think he fully admits, and this is not anything, as you say, inside baseball. It's nothing secretive, but he's going to find out tomorrow where he's going to be working in the future.
Oh, really?
So his residency's coming up. He had been visiting various hospitals throughout the country, as far as like Buffalo, I believe.
So literally
Kentucky.
Tomorrow he's finding out. So he's applied to a bunch of places.
So I would not, and he said that's on his mind and stuff. So I would not be surprised if he's kind of in this limbo period of what's my future going to be. The closest position that he told me that he could go to would be in Gainesville, which is still 2.5, 3 hours away from Orlando. So he's got an unknown that's going to affect his life starting in the summer of 2020,
and will affect his training for that matter.
Absolutely. Like there's a greater than 50% chance, in my opinion, that Javon won't be with us past the summer of 2020.
So that means we all.
I know another great grappler gone.
What the hell?
You know, I have yet to grapple with someone that feels as strong as Javon. Javon is the physically strongest grappler I've gone with, in my opinion.
Hang on. So,
yes, Ryan Wilkerson, I think Javon is a little stronger than you.
Actually, I was thinking Sahibi.
No, absolutely not.
Really?
Absolutely not.
Maybe it's like, to me, anybody who's like...
They grapple differently, and Zahibi's more up-tempo.
Yeah, the pressure is different.
In terms of just physical strength and athletic ability, like, he's fucking T'Challa, man.
I don't know. Wow. You just did the thing.
What
did you had to choose?
Yeah, dude, he's fucking Black Panther, bro.
But see, maybe to me, it's like anybody who's like stronger than me. It's like jumping into a pool. You don't get wetter. You're just fucking wet, right? So to me, it's like you're either like equal in strength to me, weaker than me, or you're just fucking strong. So like I don't gauge like how strong people are, because to me, like, you're just stronger than me, period.
Well, and I'm sure like everyone's perception is different, but for me personally, I think Javon feels like the strongest guy, physically the strongest guy.
I don't know. I mean, man, like Hector is fucking strong too. Hector's got like this crazy isometric strength where I'm like, God damn, I like just.
I mean, there are a lot of people in the gym that are strong. There are people that have strong grip strength.
Yes, agreed.
You know, so they're different things. But I'm just, I have a lot of respect for Javon's technique ability.
Yes,
but every time his technique gets better, it gets amplified because of his physical attributes.
Because it's like a force multiplier.
Yeah,
like, literally,
exactly.
But so that's interesting. So you think he's sort of in limbo, and now that's affecting his motivation?
I mean, I think that's just going to occupy your mind.
Oh, sure.
You know
I mean,
like, and so, I almost feel like it's natural to. Again, I think we have to ask him, honestly. Like,
okay, so do you think it's also perhaps because, like, I know him coming into this, before he joined our gym, he was in Jamaica, like, had a bunch of kickboxing fights and all this stuff.
Oh, really? He fought?
Dude, he told me about how he, like...
See, we need to get him on, because I don't know any of this shit.
So, like, he was saying how he, like, had, like, a test when he was, like, in, like, medical school, and he had, like... a fight like the night before that he had to like It was like literally like out of a comedy
When
movie.
did he start training here?
I just saw a photo, so like 2 years ago, kind of around the same time like JB joined, if not a little bit beforehand.
That's before my time. So
is it really? Okay, so
I started end of December 2017.
I distinctly remember Jovan and JB going at it a couple years ago when there was a hurricane and we were without power.
Okay, that's when Victor started.
It was day one when Victor checked out the gym, actually. When he sat there in the corner and was like, oh, this shit's awesome. Right? He's watching two like juggernauts just bash into each other, slipping all over the place because it's like humid and wet. He started around that time.
Okay.
So, but yeah, he was...
Did he have any jiu-jitsu experience?
I mean, he says no, right? Because he's like, oh, I'm a white belt and a gi. But... Yes,
but he's not a
I'm calling you out right now, Jovan.
Right, we're gonna have Jovan on to
He's like, I'm a white
set the
belt.
record straight because we're doing a hell of a lot of speculating.
He's got like pro fights under his belt.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah, so like, okay, have you ever done Muay Thai with him?
No, I've never trained
As
Muay Thai.
relentless as he is in like jiu-jitsu, his Muay Thai, we're like, okay, like let's just do some offense-defense sparring, right? Like one guy's only on offense, the other guy's only on defense. It's like... Have you seen like I don't watch Dragon Ball Z, but I've seen like just the memes of it where it's just like a face with just like a blaze of hands just like hitting you. You know, it's like or like in Super Street Fighter 2.
Well, that makes more sense why him and JB were training so frequently.
Yes, right. So it's like he's just like this relentless. It's literally Akuma in Street Fighter 2, or actually I think of Street Fighter Alpha 3, but like his special is like you do this thing and he just like phases across the room and just like there's just this like
all these
he just strikes. Like this, it's like a 40 hit combo in like 30 seconds and all you see is just a blaze of hands. Like that's Jovan's
I honestly didn't realize, like I thought Jovan was the guy who was always doing athletics of some kind, but I did not know.
That dude, he's got like legit fight experience.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's why he just whoops everybody's ass.
All right, so let's table the rest of this because we need to bring Jovan in.
Yeah. So either way, but my thought was being is like he's a competitor, right?
Yeah.
So like here he is, he's come to the gym. He wants to just like get that competitive edge out on, just blow his wad on that, but he can't, right? Because he's got like 12 hours of fucking residency he's got to do. So he's probably like, I can't devote as much time as I want to. You know, the hunger's there, but like literally just other stuff gets in the way. So maybe that's affecting his motivation.
Well, let's get back to the original question. Like, how does one stay motivated? For me, jiu-jitsu is so damn fun right now. It's almost impossible for me to see it not like I train Monday morning. I never train Monday morning because I had an early appointment with work, and then I was like, dude, I got 4 hours of sleep. I need to like take a quick nap. I laid in bed. I couldn't sleep because I was in that weird, like, you're tired, but you can't sleep. And it was like 10:30. I was like, fuck, I can train at 11. Let me just go in and train. Like, if I have the option to train, I'm going to do it. Like, it's fun. Like, it's honestly, it's as mystical as it sounds, or as Eastern, religion as you like to point out. It's like, it's joyful. Training jiu-jitsu is joy for me. You know what I mean?
I think it's just like it covers a lot of like bases when it comes to like.
I also think I have a physical dependency on it now. Like there's a physical addiction. Like I need a release of endorphins, and this is the only thing that can do it. Like I can even like I could lift really hard, but that doesn't even trigger the same things. Like the muscle use, the cardio, the way you can get exhausted from jiu-jitsu.
Right.
You can't do that. You'd have to, maybe a HIIT workout, could do that. But that's why it's for me. What about you? What motivates you?
Okay, so like I think it just covers a lot of bases. Like the social end of it, we kind of discussed this the other day, right? Like it's my third place. I come here just to kind of like forget about the world.
Mm-hmm.
It's how often do you find yourself? You're laying in bed, and it's like you've seen that meme, right? Like of like the wife laying next to the guy, and she's like, he's probably thinking about some fucking girl, right? But like in his head, he's thinking about like the Danaher videos or whatever the hell it is. Like, how often does that happen to you laying in bed? You're about to go to bed, right? And you're like, God damn, I got caught with this, or I could have done this better in class, or whatever.
Almost
it is,
every
right?
night.
Like it's literally it consumes your mind, right?
Sometimes I have to make a conscious effort to turn it off.
Yeah, exactly.
To go to sleep.
And I think that's like. You've probably seen me wear that shirt, but it's a quote from Anthony Bourdain about why he loved jiu-jitsu so much. Rest in peace. It presents a new challenge every single day that you train, regardless of how long you've been training, and it just sort of just covers a lot of bases, like I said, like the physical end of it. It's a good workout. It's a good stress relief, coming out, hanging out like we are right now. And plus, like, it's just like mentally challenging, and that's, and I just know there's an infinite amount of stuff to learn, I think. And so I just want to keep on, like, I feel like if I lose a day on the mats, like, I'm like, there's like FOMO a little bit, like a fear of missing out for one, like, oh, everybody's going to, make leaps and bounds of like improvement over me and stuff. But also, like, I'm like, man, like, shit, like, what are they learning that I'm not right now too? Like what can I, so I don't know. It's like, what do you think motivates? What do you think makes the people lose motivation for this? Like, aside from distractions, because it's so, like, I mean,
yeah, I think I was thinking about this. I can think of 3 things now that I think have this hook that it's hard to almost like describe, but it's just this visceral addiction where it becomes a lifestyle, like activities that become critical to one's lifestyle. And those 3 things, in my opinion, are jiu-jitsu, CrossFit, and surfing.
Interesting.
When you encounter people from those 3 domains, even though they're different, the way they talk about the 3 things sounds very similar. Even though what they're doing is different, their love, the necessity to do it almost daily is...
I would go as far as say that that's most individual sports, though.
Nah.
Really? Like, I mean, like, people who are, like, super... I try to think of it like somebody who's, like, a rock climber.
Rock climb, I think, is another potentially good one.
Because it's like
but
this...
as a tennis player, I can say no.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's not just me. That's like... I just know how tennis players talk about things, that they don't talk about it like that. They don't.
Is that because
I rode into a
like
surf shop in Waikiki. I was going to go surfing for. I was in a surf shop. Some old guy came. Old guy. Well, he was probably in his 50s. Okay. So really not old, because I'm in my 30s. So I better call. I better call 50-year-olds young now. He came in and he started talking about this guy about a set of waves one morning 3 years ago. Remember that crazy set of waves back in about 3 years ago in the wintertime and early January. And the guy's like, oh, yeah, everyone went out. It's like, that's to the extreme that these guys are. And I don't know if bowling or golf elicits that same thing. And I don't know if it's because there's some, I almost want to say it has to do with deep physical output, like CrossFit and Jiu-Jitsu, and to some degree surfing. Surfing is pretty strenuous, but maybe not to the same degree, I would say. But you're in the ocean. There's like, it's a transcendent, it's a transcendent experience.
Danger involved as well. Where you, like, do you live in the moment when you bowl really versus like, do you live in the moment when you do jiu-jitsu, right? Like,
yeah,
I don't know. I don't bowl.
Yeah. But I think rock climbing could be considered a 4th one. I could see that.
I feel as though like a lot of these sort of like,
you almost enter a meditative state.
Like the flow. I mean, like, I know I've heard about that.
Yeah.
I don't.
But I mean, I've been in the zone playing tennis, but it's different.
But are you like craving that again after, like at night? Are you trying to?
That's
crave
the
that
thing.
again?
I never was. And maybe that's because
maybe
deep down I wasn't. Maybe deep down I wasn't a tennis player. I don't know.
Is it also because there's a certain amount of like, is there like a tennis culture involved too?
Absolutely.
Like there's a certain like culture.
I can spot a tennis player from a mile away.
Can you really?
Oh yeah.
Really?
Absolutely.
All right, so I got in an argument, not an argument, but a debate with my buddy about this, and
I can base it on body structure. A big giveaway is they'll have blatant tan lines on their feet because you always play.
Can you base it on? My buddy claims, because he's like a baseball diehard.
Yeah.
He's like, I can walk through any crowd and I can pick out the baseball players.
I agree with that.
He's like, based on swagger alone.
I
was like, come on, man.
I believe that. But the thing is there are people that are recreational tennis players. Then there are people that took it a little farther. That's who I think he could recognize.
Okay,
maybe
well,
not someone that plays, the weekend or the
like a
the weekend
softball
league or something, but someone that played it seriously in high school or into college, and yeah.
You don't think though that I mean just to. So you described actually 4 individual sports at this point that sort of like have elicits this like obsessive like
yeah
clientele
like this is a part of me now.
Population.
I need to do it to be complete.
I don't runners. I mean, a lot of runners do that, but they're seeking the high as well.
I mean, I understand that someone could come in and say, well, look, talk about how many NFL players that retire don't know what to do with themselves because something they've done their entire life has been taken away. So maybe I'm being a little naive in pointing out jiu-jitsu, surfing, and CrossFit as mine.
I think everybody just tends to nerd out about something, and this is what we're nerding out about.
Yeah, it could be that.
I mean, like, how many
But I do
people
feel like there's something different about it. And maybe it's just what the things are. It's not a team sport, so I don't think about it the same way.
Maybe not. Yeah, like, because I mean, like, I think everybody finds their thing to nerd out
like
about.
Also, like skateboarders.
Yeah. I mean, like,
you know what I mean?
They're in... I mean, like, that also kind of... Like,
maybe that's because none of these things are as mainstream, although CrossFit's getting pretty mainstream now. I don't know.
Right, but I mean, like... How many people? Okay, so how much of it is also
like? Here's my thing. Here's a good definition. How many college football players attend a party not knowing each other, find out that they both played football, and then are inseparable the rest of the night, and they're just nerding out about college football? Versus, I can guarantee you, if I go to a party, or not, and I won't even include me, if a person goes to a party that practices jiu-jitsu and finds the other person that does jiu-jitsu, those people are going to go crazy and bond.
That's interesting.
Maybe it's because other people don't understand it as well.
That's true. Like, they're sort of like in there. It's like
you either do it and then you get it, or you don't do it and you really don't understand. Like, people that don't do CrossFit for real don't get CrossFit. I don't get CrossFit fully. You know what I mean?
And
people don't get jiu-jitsu.
But I think also, like, a big part of the draw of the gyms or the sort of like meeting places or whatever the hell, like boxes and this and that for all of these sort of sports are these sort of like sanctuaries where everybody sort of comes, right? Like the box, the dojo, the academy, the gym, the whatever, the waves. Like, is that area of space revered the way it is for other sports? Like,
I've heard high-level athletes talk about in all their sports to some degree.
Where it's sort of like it's you're like exiting to another reality. When you step foot in the gym. I don't know, but either way, I just
Jiu-jitsu's awesome.
Jiu-jitsu is awesome. It super is. Like, okay, so are other like is a college football player like listening to a podcast or doing his own podcast about how much he loves playing college football?
That's the thing.
I guess not. I mean,
I'm sure
motivates somebody
if we had more than 2 listeners, we would get hit with a bunch of direct messages and emails.
Yeah,
like, you need to listen to this podcast, blah, blah, blah. But I don't know. There's, like I said, it's hard for me to put my finger on it, and I could be wrong, but somehow there's, in my collective experience, I feel like I can classify jiu-jitsu, CrossFit, and surfing in a different category than other activities.
Okay, so is it also because everybody kind of has this idea of like what the jiu-jitsu lifestyle is, right? And there's like the surf culture. Like, I'm using like really buzzwordy things. Is there like a golf lifestyle? I guess there's like salt life, which is sort of like that that beach culture, right? Like, what is there like
it's a culture, but probably that community and culture is not developed. Like, I don't know if jiu-jitsu intentionally develops culture, but there's a pretty strong brotherhood. Sure. I think with jiu-jitsu, I think with CrossFit, that's what CrossFit is. It's a community.
Yes.
And surfing has its own weird kind of. I know the least about that, but there's a culture there because when I see images of, surfers going out when somebody's passed away, generally surfing, they all form a circle with their surfboards and they have a little ceremony, and there's something to that. I don't know if that. I can certainly say in tennis it doesn't exist like that.
It doesn't exist, really?
100%.
Because is it so in tennis though? Is there?
We're a bunch of people that love playing tennis, but there's no emphasis on community.
Is there really? That's an interesting thing. That's what I was
not to the
you.
Degree here.
I've been like, is it because also, and we kind of discussed this the other day, like, what is the difference between a sports academy, which is where you would train tennis, right?
Yeah.
Versus like a dojo, which is like, or an academy here, or we call it the academy. I just call it the gym. But like, there's a certain amount of like brotherhood, sisterhood.
Sure. That's
developed here when you're trying to kill each other. There's not a certain amount of like trust that's put with like your opposing. I mean, okay, so like wrestlers, there's definitely that's an individual sport that has that strong bond, for example,
in tennis, there's zero effort. I don't know if intentional or not, but there's zero thought in veteran students assisting new students.
There's zero effort to make that happen?
Yes. It's all the relationship you form is between you and the teacher. That's it. And if a veteran student becomes an assistant coach, then yes, he becomes the assistant coach.
But isn't that the same as like ranking up?
Intra. It's always coaching staff, student, not student to other student. Whereas in a martial arts situation, whether or not it's universal, we can certainly agree that longer tenured students in many instances are expected to guide and mentor younger students, or at least set a good example for them.
Okay, so let's not add a moral component to it, but is one better than the other, you feel?
Oh, I don't know, man. I don't know.
Well, I mean, one clearly helps build community.
I think the martial arts approach might be more in tune with human nature, because I think we are tribal animals.
Absolutely,
to a degree. You know what I mean?
We wouldn't be where we are.
Yeah.
Without.
So I think that flows more with how we are as human beings. And that sounds a little mumbo jumbo, but I think.
But is it also that like there's not like the nature in which these sports have like developed? Like even in wrestling, for example, like there's like the idea of like a team captain, right? Like, so let's call them like a higher rank, basically, right? Or like varsity, junior varsity, like that sort of thing. There is that in tennis is the only sport that I am familiar with the idea of like an academy. Maybe there are like golf academies as well.
Absolutely. Where I worked is they've grown to have a golf academy, the Ledbetter Golf Academy. They have a football academy. They have a soccer academy. Like, it's a place. If you want your kid to be good at a professional sport, you send them there, and they'll coach them up.
Maybe that's the idea too. Is that like it's a very almost sort of like you're deifying staff and deifying and like hero worshiping a little bit, so right? Because you're saying like these are the only sources of information. Or is it also like a consumer thing where you're like at an academy, like I'm paying this staff to train my kid, me, whoever the case is. Whereas like a jiu-jitsu thing, just with the sort of like Eastern
I think
of it,
I think one thing I feel like you might be exposing in my mind is that the origins of these sports probably played a heavy influence into how their current cultures are. I don't know the origins of tennis, but I'm pretty damn sure it wasn't.
It's Western Europe.
It wasn't similar to the origins of what you see with a martial art.
Sure,
with jiu-jitsu.
and martial arts are always rooted in,
and with CrossFit, even though CrossFit is extremely contemporary.
That's true.
What its founding principles are, and how it's been cultivated from the get-go, is very culture-based, in my opinion.
It's very. I'm sorry. Say
culture-based, like tribal. We have these boxes. Everything is
I'm not sure what the genesis of that was.
The business model is not huge academies. At least I don't think so. It's like I don't think you'll have a box that has more than 200 members.
But that's also because they price themselves.
No, but that's an edict coming from the top, from CrossFit HQ. Like what they envision are various boxes, or at least that's what they envision right now. Maybe their larger scheme is to do something else.
Yeah,
and grow.
I don't know, like
you know.
what the CrossFit HQ or something like is the idea to grow their boxes as much as possible. So like, what do you think? I think. So I know a big not selling point, but a big factor in the community of a CrossFit box, or our academy here for that matter, is, and with the jiu-jitsu culture, is like community, right? And the fact that people hold each other accountable, they believe in the idea that like we work together to help each other get better. Are we not holding Jovan? Am I not calling out Jovan enough? You know, like to keep him motivated.
Oh,
you know, because a lot of, I mean, like I can't to say that we don't guilt each other also, right? Because like,
yeah, but you have to be like guilt tripping people to motivate them. I don't think so.
No,
I don't think you need to be sarcastic. I think if you're coming with the purest of intentions when it comes to the training mat, and you're not malicious and you're not hurting people, you're not bullying people, then you're contributing to a positive environment that someone would want to participate in and be in as frequently as possible. That's what I think. Returning to things. I know this is a slight departure because we were interrupted by one of our tribe mates. So this is a very unique week. It is promotions week.
It is definitely.
Why the fuck does everyone get weird around promotions?
And we're all guilty of this. You're doing a very good job of not being weird around it. I think it's just because everybody.
Well, I like stirring the pot.
Yeah,
like I'll stir the pot. Like I
so
I
you're like
instigating. I like poking. I like poking and
you're
trolling.
You're definitely you're taking after Paul in that respect.
Yeah,
sure.
I know. Well, yeah, I think that's one of the reasons. Yeah, when we get together, it can be bad.
Why do people stir the pot? In what sense, and why do people get weird? Let's. In what sense?
People that haven't trained for a while just appear out of nowhere.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's people. We all know why that is. That's a given, right?
Yeah, but I mean, people like they get their blue belt test and then they disappear. Congratulations. Have you
seen that happen though? I've not.
Absolutely.
I'm not around
enough. This has happened this year. How many people have you seen training for the blue belt test?
Right now, I could probably tell you 3.
3. You know how many people got selected?
I don't know.
Over 10.
Over 10. So
I would say at least 2 to 3 of those people disappeared. I know one was an injury.
I would say so injuries. I mean, like we're entering a weird season too. I mean, like a month ago, basically like after Halloween, you can sort of like reasonably predict that things just sort of like go to hell, right? Like, cause like the holidays, just everybody gets caught up. And unfortunately, I think a lot of times jiu-jitsu falls by the wayside, like just with all martial arts schools, just in my experience. And I'm sure everyone will tell you.
My big thing is everyone's like, I don't give a shit about the belt. And then when fucking promotions happen, everyone starts caring about the belt. And I say that loosely by their behavior. No one says it, but their behavior. The fact that your behavior changes markedly is evidence that it's affecting you to some degree.
But that's also predicated on the fact that people's behavior, or the fact that they say.
Do you think Paul's really changed that much?
No.
I would say the most Paul does is he might up the intensity on the rolling.
Agreed. Yeah.
Sometimes he'll start. We're not. We don't.
Instead of like
frequently start on our
minutes.
feet, but then he'll sometimes. All right, guys, we're going to start on our feet.
Or we'll
rounds of 1 minute rounds. Like there's an endurance test in there to some degree.
Right. I mean, like he just wants to. So is that also a part of like properly preparing them for the curriculum, or not the curriculum, the test, right? Like he has to do his due diligence as an instructor to help prepare them for the test.
This has nothing to do with what Paul decides to do going into promotions. I don't think he's doing anything drastic. It's just everyone gets a little weird. Everyone's like, oh, am I? And you talked about, it's like, we're all guilty of comparisons.
We're all guilty of it, right?
Kind of like
I'm guilty of saying,
this motherfucker just got a brown belt, and I know I could tap him, and I'm not a
First
brown
off,
belt.
I've never said that.
No, I'm not saying.
Oh, okay.
I'm just saying I'm more likely to say that.
Okay,
but my
right.
point is like that's an example. It's like I look at my belt color, I look at the guy's belt color next to me, the female's belt color next to me. I'm like,
Well, I mean, so
it's the same as going to the gym and you lifting weight and then looking at the person next to you.
But what's weird about that, though?
Because
if we're trying to put an objective with some subjectivity measure on our development as martial artists, isn't it natural to compare yourself?
We've established that the belt system is not representative of.
No, agreed. Of knowledge, certainly.
It's a very loose representation.
It's a very, very
of where things
loose, objective / subjective measure.
But we love achievements. That's why people. That's why achievements are in video games.
Right?
So it's like there's a level up. How many people take photos
of what?
Of their belt stripe. I got a new belt stripe today.
Oh, I did. I mean, it's people like to just.
Why do we do that? We like the achievement.
We like.
I forget about the broadcasting thing because everyone broadcasts stuff. I'm not talking about.
Sure.
People broadcast achievement. Why is belt promotions held in? Yeah. Why do people like choose to share that so much? Especially to people that don't even know what it is. They're like, I don't know.
Okay, so let's. Is this done in other sports?
I don't know because I wasn't living in the social media world when I played tennis.
Right, like first of all, like how do you level up in tennis? Like you broadcast your wins.
There is no ranking system. Well, there is a rank. People say, well, you can be a 2.0 player, a 3.0 player, a 4.0 player, a 4.5. People do that. That's an adult league thing. In junior tennis, there's no establishment of ranking. And a ranking is, and here's interesting. You know how you get a ranking? You go to a certified professional, because this is the USPTA, the United States Tennis Association. A USTA coach who is qualified to give you a rating will essentially evaluate you and give you a rating. That's it.
Really?
Yep. That's it.
And they just say like A, B, C, or D, essentially?
Yeah, it's like, oh, okay, you're a 3.5. Based on what you're doing, you're a 3.5.
But what is that rubric? What's the rubric though? Like, what? How do they? Is it
they actually have it defined. There's a
subjectivity?
table in terms of like is able to hit top spin on the following strokes, is able to hit a kick serve
against a live resisting opponent.
There's no live resisting opponent. It's you and a ball.
It's you and a ball, but you and a ball's
like
coming at you from this angle, coming at you. Like
to some degree, but
or is it like a like there's a pitching machine?
It's just more like. How many techniques can you display? It would basically be saying like
it's a pure technique demonstration.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. So,
along with just consistency.
If
someone misses constantly, then you suck.
But what if that person misses constantly? But they can perform all that shit impeccably. Are they a rank 5 or are they an A-level player?
No,
How does it work?
It would bring you back a little bit.
But
here's the thing: it's notorious. Like people, like honestly,
can you pay for it?
I'm probably gonna get flack from tennis people.
Oh, let's hear it.
But it's like, I
never
thought that highly of the rating system because as a junior player, like nobody was rated. It was just like I want to be good. I want to play in college. I want to be pro. That's it.
Okay, so is there a the ranking?
This is for adult leagues. So this is basically for masters.
Okay.
That's where it's used. It's like you have a doubles league. Even though there are people that are retired, that played in college that do that.
But is there the like
all
you're
my
saying
tennis
right
friends
now?
are like, "Fuck you, Noah."
No, okay, so
you,
it works perfectly though, right? Because like you're saying, like you demonstrate the techniques or whatever the hell it is, and you get this like.
I want to talk about why people freak out around promotions.
But do people freak out before they're like going to try out for that thing? Why do people freak out? I mean, but I think it's just anytime there's an evaluation, people are going to freak out about things, right? Because there's a certain amount of pressure involved.
But what you would say isn't that the fault of your instructor or if you're an employee of your manager for not setting clear expectations and giving you feedback all along the way so you're not blindsided at the evaluation period.
I would absolutely agree with that statement.
So he's saying, "Fuck you, Paul. You're making everyone walk around on eggshells."
I'm just saying though that like that people, but that's like the nature of everything, right? Like we're about to undergo this. You sprung it upon me, and I see it on the whiteboard this morning. as I'm.
But that has nothing to do with promotions.
No, right. Is it? Oh, that's not. That's purely teaching.
Yes.
And retention.
And setting a precedent going into the next year.
Okay, so fair enough. But let's take a look at standardized testing, right? Isn't that essentially the same type of argument, right? The idea is that I should teach a curriculum. It should impart you with the proper skills, abilities, etc., knowledge for you to do well in life, in academics, whatever, right? Just this sort of idealized, romanticized version of what education is supposed to be. And then there comes, if that's all done correctly, you should do well on the standardized test, right? But what ends up in public education is you just end up teaching.
Well, taking a test is its own skill, and I think most people would agree.
Agreed,
with that.
100%.
I think most people would agree.
But what's the easier thing to administer is just to do this fucking standardized test. So,
and for us, the hobby's nobody tested me. You just got the belt.
You either whooped ass or you didn't. Right?
Yeah.
So. But when money gets involved, that's another issue.
Yeah. But in our academy, we don't charge.
We don't charge for testings. Yeah. So that's Tribe Fitness, located 9318 East Colonial Drive, 32813. But come try us out. 2-week free trial. But so I think that's just sort of the nature of testing, right? But if testings and ranks were not involved in jiu-jitsu, would people be as motivated to train because there's not some sort of any sort of measure of skill?
There's no doubt. I begrudgingly admit that belts and testing motivate students.
People motivated. Yeah. Absolutely. Because who
here's
are the people who go to the gym?
Here's the big thing that has driven me crazy this time, and it's happened every time.
Right.
Paul gives out his letters to the students that says, you've been nominated, and he gives them out 2 months ago, at least in October. Okay, guys, just understand, I'm giving you this because November's going to come, but Thanksgiving's in there, and then all of a sudden we're going to be beginning of December and you got promotions. I'm giving you this, so you have time. When is, and they have the gauntlet on Thursday, which is a Shark Tank, but they have to schedule a 1 hour time of their own choosing with Paul within business hours, so he can evaluate them.
Which tomorrow's the last day, by the way.
Huh?
Which tomorrow's the last day.
Well,
to do that.
and guess when everyone's taking their fucking 1 hour and they're trying to schedule tomorrow, the very last day. And I'm like, what the fuck? That's my thing. Now I understand I'm very unique. I'm the guy that was not cramming in college, and I know most people were. So I can't. I come off as holier than thou. I come off as holier than thou. Yeah. Well, I don't get, why is this? But at the end of the day, I'm like, guys, first of all, if you want to guarantee a time with Paul, if I'm thinking I want to get my belt,
I want to pass.
I want to guarantee that by, if I want to book it Wednesday, book it the
at
least 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Guess when? Monday. No one had booked anything yet. Monday of this week, there were no scheduled testing.
That's super inside baseball, and that's
I
very,
don't care.
very unfortunate.
I mean, that's the thing.
Yeah, and
that would blows my mind.
Maybe it's a matter of confidence.
Now
maybe
I'll go on
people
record. Now I'll
it.
challenge it. Now I'll get some hate mail here from this. Okay, when I got my blue belt test letter, I scheduled it the very next week.
When did you schedule it?
Yeah,
no, please tell us. When did you schedule it?
And you know why? Because I wanted to start focusing on advanced techniques because advanced was fun. So the more you're testing, getting ready for fundamentals, and guess what? Why is he putting that stuff on the board? Because at some level, we're failing as students to retain enough
and that's
day to day.
And
if we were, then you wouldn't have this fucking crunch syndrome where, shit, I need to catch up for all this lost stuff. It's understandable. Look, people have asked me questions, people have asked others. I tell them, look, the self-defense portion maybe gets covered once or twice a year. It's totally expected that you didn't see it, or you don't. It's not like an armbar from close guard, which gets covered pretty frequently.
Yeah,
or side control escapes, the movements. But there are some sections. Stand up, we probably don't do as much compared to other techniques, other areas. So it's I get that, and that's why the test is good because it rounds out and you're gonna have gaps. My claim is not you shouldn't have any gaps. When you're ready for your blue belt, you know it all. No, there are going to be gaps. But to degree, people are cramming the entire curriculum The entire blue belt curriculum in like a
their
week's period is like
right?
freaky.
Like, so in their defense, let's look at it from like an academic standpoint, because we've kind of discussed this in terms of like modules, right?
Everyone's going to be gunning for me now. On
Like
that.
so in one strength of like, I guess, public education is that you're taught something and you're tested on at the end, right? In this curriculum, and not to no fault of just the way it's set up, we're tested essentially at the
Did you just see some weird technique?
Yeah, no, just I'd prefer to see a better technique. Let's just put it that way.
My back is to the gym area, and Chris is making a weird face.
No,
I'm imagining we've got
it's like, I
buckling
feel as though,
knees, bowed back.
Kettlebell swings are a very
Oh,
here
we
and
go.
like
Here we go. Here we go.
I'm an
Someone
early
not doing
adopter.
kettlebell.
It's not a muscle lift, right? It's a hip lift, not arms. Your arms are just connecting yourself to the torso. But they're the kettlebell to the torso. But we tend to, because it's not tested immediately after, people just focus on whatever they're focusing on, whatever the curriculum is at that moment. And so we should test to see how much retention has taken place after that module, as you put it yesterday, right? Like, so to expect a student to remember and still be pretty proficient at something at this point, 3, 4, 5 seasons ago, or not seasons, but like,
I understand.
Semesters
ago, or
semesters ago,
figure
quarters ago.
Quarters, yeah.
That's difficult. Like, that's difficult for anybody.
Sure.
Because especially if one module you're working on is completely unrelated to another. We just did 50-50. The one before that was lasso. The one before that was, I don't even fucking remember. And that's a fault of me, Spider. And before that was De La Hiva to all this X guard, all this crazy shit, right? Like, they're unrelated to one another, which is necessary for development to give you more tools in your toolbox. But like, I think, to me, there's got to be some balance of logical flow of one curriculum or one piece of the curriculum to the next, as well as variety, right? Because that's what's going to keep people learning the billions of facets of jiu-jitsu and situations that can occur in jiu-jitsu. So how do you balance that, though? Like, variety with knowledge retention,
disguised repetition.
I see somebody read their notes. Very well done there, sir. I don't know. I mean, like, it's hard unless you're testing immediately after it's done.
What goes through your mind going into promotions?
What goes through my mind?
Because I'm approaching it from, like, I was a white belt and I got my blue belt. That's it. Like, you're now on the cusp of getting a black belt. That cusp could be as early as this weekend,
or
could be
a year from now,
yeah.
which is probably more likely, right? And what's in my head is
and you said, like, I'd rather be a purple belt.
I would literally rather be. I felt as though my best performance, just as well, it's different life situations too, right? Was when I was like a 2-stripe purple belt, because I was like, I could like, I could go hard and not be an asshole with people.
Yeah.
I didn't have the expectation of also being an instructor. Mm-hmm. I was a student and I could just train, and it was cool. Not that it's not cool me being an assistant instructor now, but like I'm expected to do well, but I'm also not expected to have this like sort of like aura about you because you're like a senior belt, I love that.
Do you think our black belts have an aura around them?
Absolutely. I think the idea of a black belt in general does, especially in a culture. So like Shogun, right? By definition, in Japanese means like first step. And like like a black belt in judo, not that it's not a huge achievement, but it's like to be like, that means you literally have mastered the fundamentals of judo. And I want to believe that that's sort of has carried over to jiu-jitsu as well. But because of like the Karate Kid and all these other fucking movies and stuff, and just like westernized like media, the aura of the black belt is that you should be able to kill somebody with it, right? And maybe that's a self-imposed thing, but like that's why I would just rather
killing mosquitoes with
with flies with chopsticks.
Yeah, with chopsticks.
I mean, I would love to just go back to just being a purple belt. Like that's where I feel my skill level is really at. It's like
But what goes through your mind? Did anything change for you? It's like, promotions. Like, do you enjoy going
It's
to
a
promotions?
massive
Like,
amount
for me,
of-
I find it fun to go to promotions. Like twice a year, if we did it like every month, I'd be like, this is getting old fast. Like,
I love
but
to
I
see.
think having the ceremony is kind of cool.
But you yourself said you hated the ceremony, didn't you?
Yeah, but it's twice
Remember
a year,
you said we were discussing one of
me
them
the
Roy Dean
context.
things, right? Didn't you say you hated that, like the sort of like ceremony end of that?
Oh yeah, I mean, but they took it way farther than what we do. We just gather around.
Wait,
and-
you don't want him to like kneel and like bow and present you with like a samurai sword?
Correct. I don't want,
Well, you don't want that?
no,
That's awesome.
I don't want fucking Tom Cruise from The Last Samurai. Like, if you want me to, strike,
Like,
if you want to strike,
I present to you.
I present you the sword. If you want me to strike me
You
down,
don't
I will
want it-
strike myself down.
You don't want it to be like you've
No.
been confirmed into the Catholic Church.
No, it's nice to get a little recognition.
Yeah,
it's also
and then-
nice to have everyone gather around.
Yeah,
because
it's
everyone's
just like the
schedules are
holidays, right?
different.
Like it's
Yeah.
good, right?
It's,
Like,
almost,
everybody-
it's almost like a wedding or a funeral.
Sure.
Excuses for extended family to get together,
It's fun.
nice,
like that's
you know?
awesome, right? Like and that's actually been one of my goals in the to be as a morning instructor is to like the morning guys sort of like get like forgotten, you know, and it's sort of like to make them feel included as a part of the gym because a lot of them don't train in the afternoons. They don't know a lot of the people. They know just whoever's in the morning, right? And that's cool for everybody to kind of get together and stuff and to really build that sense of community, right?
So, do you have any to close things out? Because I think we can follow this up after promotions. Do you have any predictions for promotions? Not in terms of who's going to be promoted. I'm not asking that. I'm just.
Then what the fuck am I predicting?
Well, no. What do you think? How do you think it's going to be? Because every year it's a little different. Some years it's really long.
I think
like-
the end of the year tends to be very long because we also do our paper plate awards.
Yeah.
And you're closing out the year, right? Like it's like this cyclical thing. It's just sort of like
Are we gonna have drunken madness afterwards?
Oh, did we talk about that?
I mean, we do.
I mean, definitely not, right? Like
we
not a certain amount
we
of like,
we do enjoy ourselves afterwards.
We're scaling
whether it's not in the gym or not.
we're scaling ourselves back to like
No, actually,
brown belt
from
like
what I've
drunken
heard,
madness.
the rumblings are we're not actually having a party the day of promotions. We might have a holiday party, end of year party at a
cool.
later date in a secure location.
one where we don't have to clean up.
A secure, undisclosed location.
one where I don't have to go. Oh, God! I have to put that car down for now. Yoink! Where I don't have to stay and clean
and
up.
also, hopefully, so people with families can attend and spend the whole time there. So it's
That's
like a
true.
clear start and end date.
Like an
Where
actual
in the
like a
past,
like a
it's been
picnic.
like, and we start bleeding into the party section. You know,
Yeah.
Give it kind of a clear section.
And people are kind of like trying to blow through the ceremony to get to the because I'm
So-
hungry for nachos, right?
I don't know. I guess asking what prediction is kind of a weird question, but what's going to be interesting is apparently we'll have our gauntlet, which is again, I say gauntlet, it's the Shark Tank for the people up for promotion. That's always fun. I'm always curious about the turnout. One year I went,
it's always
it was
gonna
like
be
a
huge.
bunch of people, not the people obviously up for promotion because those people. will
But
be
it's
there.
also is it because Julian brought his folks too?
I don't know. I'm just saying it's going to depend. It's interesting to see the turnout of other belts to participate in that. It's always fun when you see a person walk in to the gym the first day on a day like promotions or the Shark Tank, and they're like, "Is this what it's like every day?"
You mean like so? Is it okay?
Is this what it's like every day?
You mean like you talking about like the dude who like didn't get the memo and they're there for like 10 o'clock
Yeah.
class? They're like, what is going on here?
And I think there might be some stuff happening before promotions on Saturday with Julian students. That might be
Julian or Julius?
Julian.
Julian.
Yeah, Fusion Julian.
Is going to be. I don't understand.
I think he might be Shark Tanking some of his belts up for
Oh,
promotion.
you mean like
on
you mean
Saturday
the weird like
here,
rhythm of what happened like? Oh, really? Oh, okay.
potentially.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I want no.
So
part of
something
that.
said off screen. We'll leave that secretive.
Wow, so inside baseball.
But yeah, that'd be cool.
That would be cool.
So what are you gonna practice today?
I guess the curriculum is mount escape to quarter guard, right?
And to not quarter guard, quarter mount. To,
Mount escape to quarter mount to deep half.
There you go.
Yeah, I mean that's 3/4 guard. Quarter mount. I mean,
whatever.
either way, just semantics again.
What am I gonna do? I'm gonna put my gi on and get ready.
yeah, we need to go. We got 10 minutes, so my expectation is to be ready 5 minutes before class.
Oh,
I've got 10.
peace out.